Welcome everyone to the AMP 10-hour Enduro for 2021. Let's check out the starting grid for today's race. As you can see, we're on a damp track and the heavy guys are starting up front. Driver's ed was plagued yet again by another bad kart, and after a couple of kart swaps during quali, we're starting dead last. Let's get down to the grid for today's race. Well, you can check out those massive storm clouds up top. The track is damp. It's not raining yet, but it will start sprinkling here in a second. As we get ready for the green flag, there's a driver next to me, they're Webb Motorsports. For some reason, he was supposed to start behind Go Faster in the 8th position, but they're having him start at the very back. Why? I don't know. So he's asking me why I'm starting in the back.
The cart was broken. Got a new cart. Transponder wouldn't fit. Got another cart. Dead last. We got 10 hours.
So we'll talk about qualifying dramas in a minute. Here's the green flag. I get a great jump off the start, past 4 drivers. Come up onto this big group right here. I'm taking it very cautiously because I don't know if they're gonna spin. Webb Motorsports gets around me. He got a good run down the hill. I'm taking it very cautious because I don't know how this kart handles. Why? Let's talk about qualifying. First off, what was new this year was a public kart draw. So what happened was we went to the front desk and we drew a slip of paper out of a bucket. I drew kart 20. Tracy from Go Faster drove that kart in practice on Friday. He said it's fast, it's got a good motor, but it doesn't like to turn right. But I'd be fine. I got out. Obviously the track is damp. The karts have understeer no matter what on a damp track. I was full lock turning right and the kart was just going straight. I could not get it to turn. My lap times were so slow. I mean, I was a danger to everybody out there. People were coming all up on me. I couldn't turn the kart. I was having to go like 2 miles an hour in every corner. I pulled off and talked to a track marshal about swapping the kart. He said it's raining out. I said the rain's not the issue, it's this kart, it's broken. Finally, when we gridded up on the back, I was able to get another track marshal. We got a kart. They drove kart 22 all the way around to me, but it was set up for heavy because for some reason in the driver's meeting, they were using 2 different transponders in the race. The light team had a different transponder than heavy. So I don't know if it was one of the track staff out there, but he drove kart 22 out and the transponder would not even fit on. So had to get another kart and that caused a lot of delay. The start was delayed a little bit because of that. We were starting in the back no matter what. I think kart 17 was up front with like a 126. We had a 146. We were like 20 seconds off the pace. But that's fine. It's a 10-hour race. We usually do well during the day, and the wet too was another factor. I just couldn't turn the kart and stay out there, stay clean, capitalize on other people's mistakes, and just move up the field. There is some rain on the GoPro right now. It is sprinkling, but if you look off in the distance, the skies are clearing. And it ended up being a wonderful afternoon once this rain passed and the track returned to normal. Every corner was fine as the track dried, but this last corner up here in the back, it took probably another hour for that to dry. And the problem was, like, you were going fast in all these corners, but coming up right here to this last corner, you had to be so slow. I mean, look, this guy's almost losing it. Look, I've got the wheel turned full left and it's just understeering. You just had to take that really, really, really gentle. And a couple of times it caught me out and I ended up not looping, but more of like a slide. I just kind of did like a power slide. I didn't actually spin. So look, there's another guy right there. Let's talk about these new karts. AMP got these karts in May of this year. We did a 4-hour endurance race in April, and that was the last time they used the SOTIs. Got the karts in May, set them all up, and man, it's amazing how much fall off they've already succumbed to. I mean, it felt like driving Sodies. I mean, there were some really good ones, there were some medium ones, there were some okay ones, there were some bad ones. And the issue really was we were trying to get as much practice in before the race on Friday, and the biggest problem was they had zero timing and scoring up. There were no times on the monitors inside the building. We had no idea what we were doing out there. We thought maybe we'd get an email dump at like 2 a.m. of all our times. Woke up Saturday morning to nothing. So we had no data from Friday. And that was the same for every team. But still, when you've got a new kart that's different from what you're used to, you kind of want to see kind of where you're at and what karts are doing what. So we really just had to base our data off feeling and how the karts felt, and really just go from there. So starting dead last, I mean, I don't really know if that was such a big deal, because we had nothing to go on. So let's just have a good race, stay out of trouble, and make the best of it. But getting back to these CRGs, it's crazy, man. Like the steering wheel, when I first set in that kart on Friday, I was like, is it me? Have I not been in the kart for so long? Is this steering wheel like too big? If you look at it, I don't know if you can tell in the video, but the steering wheel is massive, man. It's like so large. I was not really used to it. It felt like driving a ship. But one of the karts during practice had a Sodi wheel on it. It was a lot smaller, and when I got in the kart, I was so thankful that I got it. I was like, man, I'm so used to this steering wheel. Hopefully, it'll be better turn in and all that. I got out there and it felt like driving some kid kart. I guess I got used to the big wheel in all the sessions, that by the time I got that kart with the Sodi wheel on it, it felt so different. So I quickly adjusted my thinking, and the big wheel actually worked better. But yeah, it's something to get used to, the big wheel. Also, what was cool about these karts, AMP was using the actual lead weight that goes in the slots on the side versus the seat weight. So that was helpful, because they usually run out of a lot of seat weight. And they had a lot of the side weight. I only had to have 2 10-pound side weight and just a tiny little seat weight. And it felt so much better, because I'm usually sitting on like 2 to 3 large pallets of seat weight. And sometimes it's hard to throw them in when you're making a pit stop and get comfortable. So just throwing this little tiny, man, it may have been 2 pounds or something like that. Just throwing that in, it was totally fine. It felt like I was sitting on nothing. And the side was great, because you knew it was secure, and it helps balance the weight of the engine. So real big fan of that. And I got a new mat from Matt. He bought a brand new large black mat, and we cut it up, and now I have a new one, because the one I've been using since 2016, the little pink mat that you've seen, and if you've seen me out there, or if you see it in some of the videos, that pink mat was really thick in 2016, but man, it's been in every race I've been in, and it's got some stories to tell. But I might be retiring that soon. I'm really enjoying this new black mat, and I'll be using that going forward. See, coming up on this last corner, I'm taking it really slow, and look at this guy, man. He's flying in, he loses it. The corner is not 100% dry yet. Also on these CRGs, compared to the Sodis, I feel like the Sodis hooked a lot of corners better, and I feel like the CRGs, I don't know if it's because they're designed for like an open wheel kart, much wider. I felt like they had a lot more understeer, so I really had to be slow going down the downhill and getting up that turn, making sure I hooked that apex nicely. I spent a lot of time on setting that up, and it did pretty well. Later in the day, on my second stint, I was in kart 17, and that kart was a monster, but the problem was it started to have major understeer, and I couldn't really turn the way I wanted to in any of the corners. Yeah, it had speed down the straights, but I felt like I was losing so much in these corners, and that was affecting my overall lap times. Out of all the karts I drove that day, 8 was the best, and that's going to be in the next video. 17 was second best, and 49 was this one. So I had 3 major stints during the 10-hour. Oh, there it is. Look at that little power slide, little quick 180. Able to get back on, go over the rumble strips a little bit because there's just no grip right now. But yeah, that's the first of 2. So I'll be having my second one in just a few more laps. And the reason why I had that little power slide is because every other corner you could brake at the same markers. The last corner, every few laps or so, I would test it a little bit further, brake a little bit later to see if it was really dry, and that's when I just kind of lost it. But as you can see here, if you look at the sky, it's not as dark as it was at the start. There's already some patches of blue. The sun's going to be popping soon over these clouds, and that's really going to dry the track out, and we'll be getting back to some good lap times. But going back to the CRGs, I feel like the understeer was a little greater than the Sodis, and so I spent a lot of time correcting and getting set up for these apexes. Now in some of these karts, like this one was fine, this is kart 49, and the reason why I'm taking it slow is just because it's wet. But once this track dries, this actually was a pretty good kart. I was knocking off some pretty good lap times. Timing and scoring was up during the race. It kept going down and coming back up, and we were using both apps, you know, Race Monitor and Speed Hive, so we were bouncing back and forth. So that was kind of hectic, but yeah, we did have timing, and it just felt good to be out there, a nice day, and racing an amp. But everywhere else is totally fine. Like even on this downhill, I brake, I can set up, hook the apex, and what I did a lot of this race was try to hook those 2 wheels on that curb, which really helps turn the cart because, you know, like I said, the understeer, that helps turn the cart and get you in perfect alignment going up that hill. And later in my stints and some of the other karts, I was actually like sliding the cart, like just trying to carry all that momentum. I would kind of brake and kick that rear out so that I could just kind of get that slide up that hill, and that would help me turn more. Otherwise, you're slowing down to make the turn, and then you got to get up the hill, and you're just real slow. You got to get all that momentum up that hill any way that you can. So right now, I'm not sure where we are. I haven't been passed yet, so we are making up some positions. Going back to the start, I think in the first corner, I think I made like 3 or 4 in the first couple of corners. But we are making positions back. I do know that at the end of this stint, Matt said that we had, we were P11, I think. So made up 6. I made up about 6 or 7 spots this stint. Whoa, that guy in kart 16 almost losing it on the downhill. Glad I didn't get collected in all that. But back to the stints, as soon as I got done with this one, Jared jumped in after me, and he had a good kart and a good stint. And that was the thing that we had about this race. We made all the right calls, and every team has trouble and drama. We were fortunate enough to have all of our drama at the very beginning of the race with qualifying and these spins and the damp track. Man, once that track dried out, we were clocking off lap times. It was great. I am really looking forward to posting the next video. I had a monster stint in the afternoon. It was incredible. Can't wait for that. I'll be posting that probably next week. I've got some events I got to do this weekend, and I might be posting some of that stuff first, but definitely want to get this. I definitely wanted to get this commentary video out today so that you can enjoy it over the weekend. Also, that little side ad right there. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'm trying to get to 700 subscribers by the end of the year. The end of the year is fastly approaching. I'm about 75 short of my goal. So if you like what you see, if you like my content, karting, cars, automotive stuff, sim racing, give me a like, give me a subscribe, help me out. You can follow me on Instagram. I post a lot of cool stuff there. Trying to get to that coveted 1,000. Might try and shoot for that goal next year. That might be pretty ambitious, but you never know what 2022 will bring. Looking forward to doing more events next year. I think we're going to try and do some endurance karting events. And of course, I've said this before, there's always the infamous SimCraft 24-hour race. Not sure if we're all ready for that just yet. Okay, this last corner is getting a little bit drier. Still being kind of cautious, but eventually it's gonna get 100%, and then you'll see me attacking the apex and just trying to make up more time. This year, Team Driver's Ed had Jared Parker on our team. It's usually been the three of us with the occasional two drivers, Matt and I. Sometimes Jared has been unable to make races, so Matt and I have done a lot of races. We did a lot in 2019. But this year, we brought Jared. This year, Jared is back, and he's been a real great help. Our team was formed in 2018 at the Spring GoPro 12-hour race. And that race, we had 4 drivers. Oh, there we go. Look at that, man. I just turned the cart. I thought the track was dry. Took it on the inside. Man, and just spun. That's crazy. I was dumbfounded. That's why I put my hand up. But that's it for me. I only had 2. So my 2 are out of the way. And the rest of the day, I was a full force to be reckoned with. But yeah, going back to Team Driver's Ed, we started in 2018 at the GoPro race. It was 4 of us with our friend Ty, and then it became just Jared, Matt, and myself. And we did a lot of races here, and we podiumed. It was the 3 of us that podiumed here. It was our first time to ever podium at an out-of-town endurance race. It was 2018. We got 3rd. We were elated. It was so amazing. Those videos are on here too. I was driving the final stint. It was pitch black. We got P3. I was going ham out there on the track and on the podium. It was awesome. And then 2019, we had a really good year. Matt and I, we finished 2nd in the 6-hour in spring. That's the highest we've ever podiumed. And that's the highest place we've finished here. 2nd place is awesome. Matt and I did the 10-hour again in 2019. It was just the 2 of us, 10 hours. And the top 3 or 4 teams were all 2 drivers as well, so pretty evenly matched. We finished 3rd again, which was still a great accomplishment, but man, and then the pandemic happened and no one was racing 2020, and when 2021 came, I really wanted to do this 10 again. It got moved around a couple times. At one point it was in August, it was going to be super hot, and I decided to forego that. And then they canceled it because of they had some network timing issues on the track. So it got moved to October 16th, which is usually where the 10 hours should be because it's the longest race of the year. The temps are a lot cooler. It's a lot easier on the karts and the drivers. And it's the longest race, so why not make it an epic showdown to close the season out? So I really wanted to do it. We got Matt on board, we got Jared on board, and we were back to true form, and we gel really well. So, and we're very competitive here. We're a team that is definitely in the top 3, definitely in the top 5, if not on the podium. So I had really strong hopes this race. You'll have to wait and see in the next video. But if you follow my Instagram, you probably already know what happened. And that's why you should follow me on Instagram. and subscribe to my YouTube. That way you get the Instagram posts first, so you know ahead of time what's coming. While you're doing that, just go ahead and click subscribe and help me get to that goal. Oh, another kind of funny thing that happened. Not really funny. It was kind of an issue, but we worked it out. Jared and I have the same earbud system, the little molded earpieces that work really well. For some reason, he could not find his earpieces, and he ordered a new set, but they did not arrive in time. And so one of the downfalls, or one of the challenges of our team this weekend was trying to communicate to a driver that had no comms on track. That was a real struggle, but we made it work. And his earbuds came Monday, and I told him, do not lose them because we will need them next year. So that was just another tiny issue we had on our team. But other than that, we had a pretty good race. There wasn't, like I said, all our drama was at the beginning. We had a very slight pit stop confusion on how many stops we made. Towards the end of the race, and I'll be talking about this in the next video because it'll be closer to the end. But we had a slight, there was just a little confusion. Jared and I thought, and we confirmed it with, well, we thought we had confirmed it with the staff who was running the pit stops, that we had 2 to make when in fact we only had 1. So we had to do some quick adjustment in our strategy. But I'll be talking about that later in the next video. But other than that, I mean, we had a pretty good race. There was hardly any issues throughout the bulk of the day in the afternoon, and it worked out pretty well for us. Whoa, this guy locking up big time, man. Whoa, man, he almost sent me into the wall. Did you see all that tire smoke? Man, I didn't know if he was going to lock up and spin. I was trying to figure out which way to go, and I didn't end up like losing the rear, but it was pretty dicey there just for a second. Look, and he's kind of getting loose right there on the downhill. I'm just going to go ahead and get around him right now. Yeah, if you look up top, there's the sun. It's popping. The clouds have moved on. And look at all this blue sky we got. And it's only going to get better. Sit back and enjoy the sounds of the track. Okay, so the track is pretty much dry now. Yes, there are some wet spots, but with the slicks on and the racing line already formed, you can take these corners as if it was completely dry. The back corner is fine now. It's now just head down and make up as much gaps as you can to the people in front of you. And with there only being 18 teams out here, there is a lot of clean air on a lot of laps, which is great compared to what we ran last year, which was I think 23 or 24, maybe 21. So 3 more karts out here. I mean, it was pretty much a full field anyway, but having 3 less karts out here does help because you just get a little bit more clean air and you're not all bunched up like on the start. It was fine. I think last year Matt started and it was a little chaotic for him. We were in the back as well again, and It wasn't damp, it was dry, but it was still very, very chaotic. I had, 17 other teams to deal with on a wet track, and it was a little bit more, a little less, it wasn't as bad as, Matt had to deal with a lot. Plus we were in a bad cart, and I felt like 49 this time was good. We were just waiting for the track to dry out. Now it's dry, and we're just clocking off laps and passing traffic, trying to gain as much ground as we can before Jared jumps in. Alright, this is my last corner. I've been told to box by Cassidy on our team, and coming down the front straight. I'm going to pull in this lap and hand off to Jared. I think I did about roughly an hour maybe in this cart. So pulling into the pits now, raise my hand up. Stop in the first stop box. Stop in the second box. I'm undoing my belts because I know there's a new transponder position, and I'm going to try and maximize the time right here. My belt's already undone. Look where the transponder is, and they put it in between the wheel well and the actual cart weight boxes. Really horrible spot. And this part, it cringes me to watch this part. For some reason, I could not get the pin in the peg. Okay, the issue was I had my visor on, and the screws on my visor were loose, so I couldn't raise my visor up. I've got gloves on. That's another issue. Oh man, this is so bad. I can't watch this. Please tell me when it's over. Oh my gosh, man, the nightmare is over. That was horrible. That was completely horrible. Shaking my head. That was about 2 minutes our total pit stop was 2 minutes 40 seconds with that whole debacle, and then Jared making one full lap. We definitely got way better than that, but man, right out of the gate, 2 minutes 40 seconds, not good for driver's ed.
Driver's ed. Well, the back, all the corners are fine now. All the braking points are fine.
Good.
But in the back turn, it was so dicey.
Good lap time.
I
You were
spun
down
twice back there.
Yeah.
And I think the leader lapped us.
What's that?
17 lapped us. He lapped.
Yeah,
we're done. Yeah.
That was a 2 minute 40 second pit stop. You guys.
Yeah, 2 minutes because of me. Because
well,
it's where the transponder is. You can't.
There's teams that have clicked off 210, 220, and 213. We didn't get the worst pit stop though. Somebody had a 4 minute 17 second pit stop.
Well, it's just where the transponder is.
That's all right. We're gonna have to just get better at that. We can't afford
And it was where Jared's cart was. It was right up against.
Yeah, but everybody's cart's gonna be there.
I know, but he was right up against the wall. I couldn't even. I was literally on his top of his cart.
But everybody's cart's gonna be there.
I know, but there was, at least on the inside, you've got a little sidewalk.
I know, but the other three before you also had their carts positioned in the same spot.
Wow.
We're gonna have to learn to just deal with it.
Yeah.
So you have to get faster at that one. All right, we'll get it.
That's what it is, I guess.
All right.
Plagued by another bad cart.
All right, they gave you a much better.
Got a replacement cart. The transponder wouldn't even fit on, so I had to get another cart.
Oh, so they brought you, what, 22, and it didn't work?
Yeah, then they brought me 49.
22 would have been a heaven sent.
The transponder wouldn't even fit on.
Well, yeah, because it was probably set up for heavy. It's all right, we'll figure it out.
Well, that does it for the start of the 2021 AMP 10-hour Enduro in the wet. We started dead last, and I made up about 6 or 7 positions, so Jared is in the cart now, and he's pedaling away. Be on the lookout for the next video from a monster stint where we crush the entire field. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and help me get to 700 subs by the end of the year. Your support is really going to help. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the track.